You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech, featuring a weekly roundup of tech news and gossip. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech.
Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech, BHL, G&T on BHL. We're here, I'm Joe Braswell. We're here to discuss nerd culture, geek culture, tech culture. I'm here with my two co-nerds, joined number one by the Achilles Shine, aka the light-skinned Gordon Parks.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Yes. And I'm joined by Nando Velasquez, the Puerto Rican Chanho Park.
What?
I don't know. I got nothing.
You need to plan these intros up before we start.
I
They're progressively getting worse and worse.
I know.
I know.
And I'm Joe Braswell.
At least you got a Puerto Rican right. You got that part right.
I'm the guy who wants to have sex with Grace Park. How's that? Like what?
You're just that guy.
I'm the guy. That's
You're
who I
that
am.
guy. Okay,
Like,
got it.
what nerd? I have to. Yeah, that's my. It's a nerd rite of passage to have a crush on Grace Park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. Grace Boomer Park.
Yeah, Boomer, yeah. Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica
Yeah,
fame.
of course.
Okay, fame.
Of course.
Okay, you looked at me like who?
No, I know who that is.
All right.
I had my nerd rite of passage with her, too.
Hey.
Oh, man, I'll have to tap out on that one.
No, you're out. You're out on Grace.
You have
There's
to tap
a
or
big
tap
difference
out.
between having a crush and crushing my man.
Oh, that's true. I did say I wanted to do something. I did anyway. Welcome to Geek Nerd
Yeah,
Tech. We're
that's
here. What we try to do every week is bring you the latest in geek culture, nerd culture, tech culture from a perspective that is coming from us, which are Black folks and Latino folks. We consume culture. We consume nerd culture, geek culture. We consume technology at the highest rate in this country, and so we want to be folks to talk about it from our perspective.
Yes,
so
sir.
that's exactly what we're going to do. Later in the show, we're going to go through our normal, what we do every week is kind of run through the stories, tech stories we love. But this week, we're going to spend a little more time on the pop culture side, on the nerd side. I feel like we haven't really been doing our, earning our nerd stripes at all. It's all been technology, tech. So we're going to talk a little nerd pop culture today. We're going to bring on our guy, Lawrence Young.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to come on. He's going to call in.
From the Fantastic Forum and Geek podcast, yeah.
From the Fantastic Forum.
Yeah.
And so he'll call in a little later, and he's the biggest black nerd I know, next to me. So no, I don't know. I think I may have him beat. Anyway, so let's get into this. So let's talk about these stories of the week. Achilles, what did you see this week?
Man, really interesting story this week. Tesco, the second largest company in the world, right behind Walmart. They're a huge retailer. They have a gang of gas stations, supermarkets, and they sell everything from toothbrushes to toilet paper.
UK, like huge. They
Exactly.
own the UK, the Walmart of the UK. If
Exactly. So what they are doing, this new initiative where they are putting these scanning softwares into about 450 of their gas stations in the UK. And so they're using this software called AmScreen, and essentially it's a software that it's targeted in-store advertising based on your physical features and on your shopping habits. So you walk into a store, and there's this camera that pretty much scans your face, and it's able to detect your gender, your age, and then based on those patterns, it will suggest a product for you to purchase.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Okay. So this is on some like Minority Report shit, right? There,
Exactly.
Right? So I walk in the store, it scans me up, and they're like, porn or whatever. Like I don't know, whatever you want.
Let's use like the spirits industry. Let's use alcohol. So you walk into the store. So you purchase a pack of gum,
yes,
and it scans your face by that time. And that's, hey, Joe, you're a black guy, and you're this age, and you must like Hennessy.
They would be right. No, that's good. No, wow, okay, that's true. So it's really kind of what what happens now on the web. It's what happens now, you know, when you are
Google, Facebook.
do it all the time. They sort of profile you and store tons and tons of digital information about you and share them with other retailers and other people across the web, advertisers. So what this is taking that thing to the next level.
It is.
And being able to do that. I mean, this is as was foreseen in Minority Report.
Man, it's definitely elevating the game, but you have the people that are kind of against it in the sense that
You think?
Yeah, of course. Like, man, it's like privacy issues. Like, you
Sure.
don't want, like, I know it's a different culture in the UK in terms of like the CCTV and all that stuff. And there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And Big Brother's watching.
Yep.
And so people feel like their privacy is being intruded upon.
Right.
Like, you don't want to walk into a store and a camera's capturing all this information. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, because I don't want to know my business. Like,
hell no.
Oh, I see. A bottle of Hennessy and some Magnum condoms.
Exactly.
There you go, Joe. Like, you have a good night, sir. Like, I don't want people knowing what I'm doing at all times. I don't know. I mean, Nando, what do you think of this tech?
It's scary, man. It's totally scary. I mean, well, first of all, now I know what to get you for your birthday, so thank you very much for that.
Sorry.
So
yes.
It's all good, but yeah, I mean, I don't like to be just regulated to ads. Just, you know, walking into a store, I like to be able to have my own anonymity walking in and doing stuff. Obviously, there's
What's
a
that word
big
again?
privacy thing. Anonymity.
Sorry.
Do you think
I can do those. I can do those words.
know.
Do you think we're headed to like a constant surveillance society in this country?
Yes.
I think we are.
I mean, we're already here. This is what's obviously what's being, you know, talked about in Washington now.
Yeah.
With, you know, with the sort of the, I mean, post 9/11, you know, with all of the sort of Patriot Act, listening unto everything, everywhere, and then I mean, look, we're already here. Like, I already assumed that, you know, people are reading my emails and my texts and everything else, and now, you know, I've got the new 5S where they iPhone 5S, where like I have to print my fingerprint to get into my phone, and Apple swears to me that they're not stored anywhere in Apple servers, and I believe them. Achille, you do not believe them.
I do not.
Okay, so you know, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's incredible the amount of information that we give up, and I think there's a documentary that's coming called I forgot. Never mind. I'm really. It's definitely coming talking about what we give up in our when we sign or when we click on the sort of like what do you call the thing, the
ad banners?
No, the terms and conditions.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, when you click on a terms and condition on any whatever it is, like whether it's Facebook, or every time you update your software, every time you update any iPhone thing, every time you do anything, you have this big, long, gigantic terms and conditions, and you click agree or disagree, and we all just agree. But that is a lot of info, and what they are essentially saying every time you click on that is something to the effect of, we can do anything we want with everything you agree that we can have your shit and have your life.
Essentially.
South Park had a really good. It's an old episode where they sign their life away on those contracts, and everyone's like, "You mean you didn't read the fine print? You didn't read all 12 pages?" Everyone else is like, the whole joke is like, I think it was like Kenny or one of the kids, not Kenny, but one of the other ones, like Ike or something.
Right.
We're like, Ike. I'm talking about the baby, whichever one. Kyle. He signed something, and everybody, like his family, all his friends, even like Cartman's, like, "You mean you didn't read all 15 pages of the thing?"
That's a good
How
Cartman.
could you? Yeah. So
From like an advertiser's perspective, though, how does an advertiser, a company, a brand use technology to enhance like the shopping experience? Because really, that's the job of an advertiser, to pinpoint your likes, your interests, and to be as specific as possible so that they can get your attention. So how, like from a business perspective, like where do you see, you know, technology taking things?
Well, I mean, they'll take things to whatever end they need to take things to be able to sell you something. Like everything, like, you know, my business is television, and you know, television is not only exists as a delivery service for ads. Just like, I mean, it's there to deliver you ads. So not, you know, or it's if it's pay cable, then you pay for it, like it's HBO or whatever, or Netflix, you pay for it. But I mean, that's why it exists. And like, so all we do and all things that we create on television is a way to micro niche and identify people, a certain demographic, so we can sell them stuff. Yep. It's the same for magazines. It's the same for everything. So, I mean, this is not going to go away. So to answer your question, they will go to whatever lengths they have to go to be able to sell you something, because that is the name of the game. Like, you know, that's what we do. We want to sell. We consume. as consumers, we consume a lot of shit, and advertisers want to sell us more shit.
Do you think that people like, when they shop, do they like the exploration process of going aisle by aisle or writing out a list of things that I want? Or versus like, hey, I'm walking and based on, phenotypical traits and based on, shopping patterns, I get these suggestions. Like, oh, I never thought about that. That's a cool product. Let me check it out.
Well, you know what? I think, again, it's a choice. Like, there are sometimes I go into a store and I really don't know what I want. And you know what? If you don't know what you want, or let's say you're looking for a certain type of device, like a computer, for example, and you go to a place where they have Macs and they have PCs, and you don't want, you ask somebody, and they look at you and they say, well, and they ask you, what do you want? Why don't they have instead, why don't you opt in to stuff like that? Right. You should be allowed to opt in on your choices. So like
give some consent over.
Get some consent over it. And not feel like you're being watched the whole time and people are analyzing every move you make. But when you opt in, obviously, like a salesperson, you give certain information about what you're interested in. And maybe they remember that information for the next time you come. Just like a salesperson, you walk up to the same guy. Hey, this time I need a printer for the computer that I bought from you. Something like that. That I totally have respect for. That people have a choice for. But when you're walking into a store and they're just like scanning you and saying, "Oh, you're Joe Braswell. Here's some Hennessy. Here's some marijuana. Here's some this. Here's some that." I don't know. Whatever. I know. I'm just getting.
No, you did right. But you never have a choice with ads. When you're driving down the street, you don't have a choice of what billboards you see.
Geared to everybody.
True.
Generally, I mean, they are targeted towards certain demographics, but they're not targeted toward Joe
individuals.
Braswell. Yeah, toward Achille. They're targeted to your race, the amount of money you make. Let's say. If you're male or female, your age range, it's more of a demographic.
I mean, you're casting a wide net. This is the advertisers' goal. They cast a wide net first, and then they want to reach everyone. But then if they could, they don't want to reach everyone. They want to reach you. Yeah. Because if they know that you're going to buy stuff and you're not going to buy anything, they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
So they don't want to waste their money. They don't want both your eyeballs with one billboard. If they can make a billboard that you can only see because you're going to buy something and he's not, then that's what they'll do. But it's also their job to sort of make you want to buy stuff as well. So that's kind of like that. So that's kind of what you're talking about. I think that it's not only we want to sell you stuff, but we want to offer you things, but we also want to let you know about things that you may like.
Exactly.
That's what's reaching. It's going this way. It's interesting. We'll see what comes up with this. I will say though, back to that Minority Report thing. I'm just really, really amazed by Spielberg when they did that movie. He had this sort of like futurist summit, right? So he got all the best, most creative futuristic thinkers.
Yep.
He put them in a hotel room, I think in Santa Monica, and for the weekend or a week or something, and said, "Okay, guys," I mean, he got this guys from all, and says, "Sit here for this entire weekend and think about what the future will look like."
Yep.
And the stuff that came out of Minority Report, all of that stuff, with the exception of predicting the future, is coming true.
It is.
These guys were really, really spot on. So it's really interesting to see that. I'm really surprised, and maybe we will see some precogs coming down the road.
Last point about this is that they already have this technology heavy in Japan, and I believe I read they have this technology in the Venetian in Las Vegas. Okay. When you walk past a certain part of the Venetian, it will recommend restaurants and shops based on your race or gender.
Oh wow,
which is pretty crazy.
Like if you're thin, like, oh, you look like you need a steak. Or if you're heavy like me, oh, Joe Braswell, how about a salad, sir?
Let's just have a virtual mom.
Like,
oh, you haven't fed yourself lately.
But I want a steak, Venetian. No.
Why aren't you married? You walk by. It's like, you look so skinny. Why don't you have some pasta?
Venetian.
Why are you married? When are you going to get me some kids?
I'm sorry, Venetian. I'm just from here in Vegas.
What's your job? You can do better than that.
Venetian, leave me alone. Anyway, yeah, I get it. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. Nando, what do you got? What jumped out at you?
Well, I think the biggest story this week, technology-wise, is Twitter finally going public.
Of course.
So huge. And this is the second biggest tech stock, I guess. Remember Facebook being the first one, and Facebook was highly publicized as well, and did okay.
Right.
I think it was very mixed reviews about it. But Twitter just came out of the gate. They started out, I believe, at I think I wrote it down, like about $26.
24 bucks.
24, right? Oh no, there's well, according to USA Today, it's 26, but it went up to 45. It closed up at the end of the first day, which was Thursday, yesterday for us, 44.90, which is up 73% from its initial offering.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's incredible.
It's huge. And
did you buy? Did you buy any?
I did not. Did you?
I did not.
You
did
can't.
not?
That's not how the IPOs work. It's like it's not a democracy with that. It goes with the top guys first.
Right.
So-
You're right.
Well, if you got a top guy friend, you go, hey, by the way, while you're
Well, yeah,
buying your 2 zillion
because-
numbers of stock, can you get me 5?
Right.
A friend of mine.
little poor guy like me, get me 5.
A friend of mine did that with Facebook and like
Yeah.
knew a guy and bought a bunch and then kind of took a bath.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Well, yeah, because it's Facebook. But
Right.
I mean, again, so far it's doing really well. It's not expected to hold up right now. Today, Friday, that we're recording this, as of right now, I think it's down 4%. It's been a little more volatile. It was up a little bit more toward the early, and now latest report I just thought was breaking news. 4% under. It might even be changing right now as I speak.
Oh, wow.
But it's a little more volatile. But still, it does say a lot for Twitter. It's not as well used as Facebook still, but it still has a really good brand recognition. I think another concern about it is people still don't know exactly how you make money on Twitter.
Yeah,
How
this
Twitter
is-
makes money.
Okay, so this is the question. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean for the average Twitter user like myself? What does this mean for the future of Twitter? I know that they're doing a lot of things. Look, Twitter's already sort of changed the way, me personally, the way I consume news.
Yeah.
The way, I mean, it's my news feed. I mean, I follow all the people who I like. I get all of my info, like almost 100% of my news now I get from Twitter. And so, in other words, all the articles I read, whether it's the papers I follow, the magazines I follow, the individual columnists I follow, the talking heads and pundits I like in the political world, musicians I like, actors I like whatever they link to, I'm like, oh, because I know I'm gonna like that thing, and so that's kind of where I get my it's my news feed.
That's
Well-
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, out of all the social media networks, I mean, Twitter is really the best publicized. How many TV shows do you watch where
Right.
they say tweet at us? I mean, we even finish off our show saying our Twitter handles.
Right.
People, it's a great
But
way to communicate.
it's only 1/5 of Facebook users.
It still
Yes.
is low, but again, it's out there a lot more. You don't hear. I mean, Facebook's out there. Facebook's like this big Goliath that you can't
Exactly.
avoid.
Right.
Twitter, though, Twitter is literally it's more vocal.
You're right.
It's a lot more vocal out there.
But
And
what does it mean what does it mean? I mean, like, so Twitter's public.
Yeah.
Yay for Twitter. Like, how are they going to make money? I mean, I know that in addition to guys like me using it as news feeds, I know that there's a lot of metrics they're using for TV, for Nielsen and TV shows.
Yeah.
Replacing Nielsen in terms of being able to specifically track, trending topics on TV shows.
well,
and that good
here's
stuff. But
here's
how-
what it probably means. I mean, one thing that the fact that it's being valued so high up right now, it just shows people have faith in this product.
Right.
All right, they have projects coming up. I think there's still a lot of question marks with Twitter, but the potential is there. And here they are asking for money to go public, and they valued themselves a lot lower than right now. Their current valuation is 31 million, which is higher than LinkedIn. LinkedIn's at 26, and of course Facebook is valued right now at 120 billion.
Wow.
But the potential is definitely there. They definitely have the money from the public offering. They got more than they asked for the public offering. And they have all these projects that some of them, again, there's a lot of mystery still as to what is next for Twitter, but everyone sees the growth potential, and I think that's big.
I like to tie in on that in terms of
sure.
like a lot of the money they make already is ad revenue. It's not that much as compared to Facebook, but like you said, they're going to develop features and services that people can subscribe to or purchase, and that's how they're going to be able to generate more income. But I mean, kind of like what you said in terms of that's where you get your news source. You take away the celebrity aspect of Twitter, it won't work. And that's the kind of thing, that's the fine line that they have to balance. The everyday average user or the kid or the teenager with the celebrity.
Right.
Because you take away that audience and they don't have the ad revenue.
Exactly. Because I don't follow a ton of celebrities. I follow you two, but other than you two, I don't follow a ton of celebrities at all. But I do follow pundits and people and and columnists. So whatever. I mean, I'm old, but we'll see how that works out. I do want to touch on what I want to touch on briefly is the SNL story. It's old now, but we've been wanting to we've been talking about the diversity problem on SNL, or people have been talking about it. We haven't talked about it here yet, and this is the story that we were still going to do at one point. And right when we were going to do this story, Kerry Washington showed up and killed it on SNL. I thought she did a fantastic job. But I've watched SNL pretty much since I'm old enough to have watched it. As far as as long as I can remember, like way back in the mid 70s.
When you were 30 years old?
Yes, when I was 30.
Okay.
But God bless Garrett Morris and
Bill
Garrett
Murray
Morris.
I'm sorry.
Garrett Morris.
Yeah.
We have Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
We had
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor was a host.
Was one of their first big hosts.
Yeah,
he was like their 6th episode in. Actually,
they had the great sketch with Chevy Chase, which
yes.
is great. But and then we have Tim Meadows, we have Finesse Mitchell. Now we have Kenan Thompson. We have Jay Farrell. Right now. And I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's all.
For those two, and then women-wise, we had like Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph was
probably the biggest one out of all.
Yeah,
of them.
but she's the only African American cast member.
No, there was another.
I mean, female.
There was another female, and I'm gonna have to look it up.
All right,
honestly, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Anyway,
but there was another one.
So, the big story was when SNL premiered. They got a lot of the cast left last season. So it had a big turnover, and this is a big opportunity for them to sort of step out and do some things. And they hired like 5 white guys from Chicago, so which is fun and all. I'm sure they're all hilarious.
Yeah,
but not even. I mean, no. I think they brought on one. I don't think they brought in any women. They brought in one. I think they brought in one woman, and then they brought in a bunch of white guys who looked the same to me.
Yeah.
All kind of funny, but I mean, it speaks to like them not even. I don't know if they're not even trying to bring in sort of African Americans, Latinos, women. I mean, I don't know if it speaks to
SNL is a white fraternity. That's how I see it.
Sure. I mean, it speaks to like the writers and the culture and everything else. And I mean, Chris Rock, I forgot Chris Rock. Chris Rock talked about this a lot. He really talked about how, and Tracy Morgan, Chris Rock and Tracy Morgan talked a lot about Chris Rock specifically, how, who's funnier than Chris Rock, but how hard it was for him to get sketches on, how hard like his humor and what he was writing for, no one in the room got. Is like, I got this great sketch, it's this, and everybody's like blank stares. So there's that,
and that's I want to talk. Like I just read Paul Mooney's book. Paul Mooney used to write for Richard Pryor, and that's why Richard Pryor was so successful, because he had Paul Mooney, developing content for him that spoke the language and the rhythm of what was culturally sensitive to black people.
Right.
So
yeah, and so Carrie comes on, and she did a great job, and I think that I mean, she's a juggernaut that cannot be stopped right now in culture. She's just doing it all. But I think that they had this great sketch at the beginning, which sort of addressed the the diversity problem, where they had they called for 3 black women: Oprah, Michelle Obama, and Beyonce, and Carrie had to play all 3, which is very funny, and they addressed it and did a little funny thing. That was a very good move by SNL, and we had a lot of, I called it the black show, because we had a lot of Kenan Thompson, a lot of Jay Farrell, a lot of good sketches that they have written, and so it was great, and I think that I don't know. It feels like SNL does this thing where it was in the news, we've addressed it, and they've moved on. But I'm bringing this up now because I don't want the story to go away. I feel like that this is an ongoing problem.
I think they did this just to hush the criticism. It's just a token. Right. Here's a token. Be quiet.
Well, you know what? Look, regardless of that, first of all, you also got to remember Kenan Thompson was playing a lot of black women in the past couple of years too, which is kind of funny. There's only been 3 black women, actually. I have an article here. I'm trying to pull it up and see which ones, because I can't remember the names of them. But Maya Rudolph was the most successful out of the other 2. I believe the other 2 only lasted like 1 season. So.
Oh, you know what? I forgot. There was my girl. I just remember. I can't remember her name, but I do remember the sister.
Yeah.
It was in the. What doesn't matter what cast was in. But there was one other sister. I do remember her.
Yeah.
Ellen. Oh God.
Let's see.
I can't remember her name. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'll find the names. I'll find the names. But anyway, just to move past the point.
Yes.
This was the #1 rated show of the season, with Kerry Washington hosting.
Yes.
This broke all records for the season. Okay. Kerry Washington's a great actress. She's on Scandal. She's phenomenal. She definitely got to show her chops. They did a spoof on what does the fox say?
Yep.
Which is hilarious. Went totally viral. It's probably the biggest viral video they've had since anything Lonely Island did.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely since Lonely Saturday, Sunday, whatever it was.
Yeah. Lazy Sunday.
Lazy Sunday. Yeah. Lonely. I don't know. I'm all
Lonely
over the place.
Saturday.
I'm all over the place.
What the hell kind of nerd are you?
And they even made reference to Kenan.
Sure.
Kenan Thompson saying he's not going to play drag anymore.
Right.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Now here's the other thing about SNL. SNL pulls most of their cast members from improv troupes.
Yep.
Second City. Improv Olympic.
Yep.
Right now, Upright Citizen Brigade, huge. Okay, the majority of those schools. There was a really good article written by Eric Voss on. I can't remember the website. I'll have to pull it up. Maybe I'll put it in notes or something like that. But a really amazing article about how all those schools improv schools, and they teach sketch and they teach improv, is majority white.
Yeah.
There are actually a lot of minorities. In fact, they welcome minorities to
Sure.
come on. So I know UCB, I know a couple of places actually have scholarships because again, you got to pay money to go to school. It's not it's not like going to college, but it still adds up. You know?
And look, the improv culture is very much, and this has nothing to do with them wanting, not wanting black folks there, but the improv culture is very much sort of a white culture, if you will. So, I mean, black comedians don't come up through the improv world. I mean,
but black people have to improv just to survive, so it's natural to us.
Right.
Well, we
don't need class for that.
Jay Farrow was pulled up based on his stand-up because he does great impersonations. He was actually pulled up as a YouTube artist. He wasn't pulled up from the improv. So they do reach out to other things. But,
that was a very great move on their part. Finding Jay Farrow.
He's amazing.
But just in terms of
amazing.
He's young, like Eddie Murphy was young. Eddie Murphy was 20 when he joined. Jay Farrow, I think, was 19 or 20.
And Keenan did Nickelodeon for the longest time.
Keenan and Kel.
But two perfectly awesome black comedians who came up through improv were Key and Peele.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, Michael Key and Jordan P. Jordan Peele came from Peele came from Chicago, from improv schools in Chicago, Second City. Fabulous people. There are people out there who've done that, and there are some really awesome. There have been a lot of articles, if you just look on the web, of comedians that should be on SNL, black comedians that should be on SNL. Right. Nimia Funk's one of them. She's fabulous. She actually did a little video response about not being ready.
Well, Jay Farrell's been really talking about I think Jay Farrell he had a little short list of people that he thinks that should be on. Like, this girl is funny. Why isn't this girl on?
Exactly.
Let me ask this question. So we're talking about diversifying the cast in the writers' room of SNL, and to be more representative of maybe the makeup of America. But do you think the audience of this show is diverse?
No, and I think that this is, well, I mean, that's a trick question. We're gonna get to our guy Lawrence Young is on the line in a second. We haven't forgot about you, Lawrence. But just to finish this point, no, because that this would be Lorne Michaels' point. Like, sort of like he's playing to the demo. Now there is the argument that if you build it, they will come. Like Fernando said, this is the highest rated show, and it was Kerry Washington is a bona fide superstar. She's on one of the highest rated shows.
And this was not a show that was because of this was not a show that was rated because of the controversy. This was a show that was rated because people wanted to see Kerry Washington,
of course, and she delivered. So it was great. Well, we're gonna talk about Google Helpouts, but I think we'll table that for now because on the line we have our good friend Lawrence Young from the Fantastic Forum. Who we're going to talk some pop culture and some nerd culture, some geek culture. Lawrence, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. What's going on, everybody?
How you doing?
What's up, man?
Oh, thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we're this is 4 shows in, and we have been very light on the nerd culture and the geek culture and the pop culture, and people are beginning to question our nerd bona fides.
Is that why you wore that Star Wars shirt?
Oh no, this is
Where's the party at?
Where's the party at? I'm wearing my "Where's the party at" shirt for for folks who are watching on YouTube. But yes, so speaking of which, let's talk about some stuff. I mean, today, Thor opens.
Thor 2.
And Thor 2. And I was supposed to see it last night. And I usually do my midnight showing. I didn't do the press screenings. I didn't do any advanced screening. I was going to do the midnight show like I always do. But I opted to do other extracurricular activities instead. But Nando, you did see it.
I like how cryptic that was.
Seriously. It may or may not have involved a lot of alcohol.
Thor 2, really, really good. This was a franchise, honestly, out of all the geekier franchises that I didn't think was going to be as big as, let's say, Captain America or obviously the X-Men movies or Spider-Man, but the first one stood really well.
Great.
Really good. And this one delivers more of the same. It definitely, if you are a comic book fan, as I know Lawrence is, I think you will get a lot of enjoyment out of this because it really gets deeper into the world of Asgard and some of these characters and the mythology of this, because that's the one thing that I think this franchise is going to live or die by in the box office. How geeky people are willing to go with their movies.
How deep?
Well, this was my question when Thor, the first Thor, came out. I thought that hiring Kenneth Branagh to direct was a good move because he was able to handle sort of that this sort of faux Shakespearean dialogue he had to go through. Like he made it really he lent some credibility, and some of the actors and Tom Hiddleston and these guys did some and Anthony Hopkins lent sort of this weight and credibility to a ridiculous world. Really, I mean, we're talking about gods and hammers and Thor and Odin, but so we take Thor out of that world, we put him in the Avengers, we take him back into this world. I mean, was it? You say it was very successful? Because for me, that's my concern. I was never a big Thor guy because of the mythology. I couldn't really wrap my head around the world.
What do you think, Laura? I mean, I personally, I feel the same way, but I ended up liking.
Did
the
you
movies.
see it?
You haven't seen the new one though.
You know what? I actually haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But I know that everyone that I've talked to that has seen it says it's fantastic, and
Wow.
it's killing overseas, and the Thursday night box office was great for it too.
Good. And so, were you a Marvel guy or a DC guy, by the way? Or
Oh, I'm definitely a Marvel guy. All the way. Like,
shots fired! Like you got mad on that one.
It's like, how could you ask
How
me?
dare you?
How dare you?
oh yeah, it's crazy, but it's funny though because even though you asked the question, Thor is probably one of my least favorite Marvel characters.
Yeah.
I like him in the confines of the Avengers, but I'm not a big fan of Thor as an individual character. Actually, up until very recently,
And
the comic itself has been actually excellent as of late, and a lot of it I think is the guys at Marvel realizing that okay, we're going to make these movies like from way back before Thor 1 even came out.
Right.
We're going to make these movies. We have to make sure that this character, like the arc and the through line for it, is going to be something that's palatable for a general audience. And I think that even though it does keep with the mythology, with the Norse mythology, it's still the way that it presents it. They kind of mask it a little bit. Like they make it seem like, if you want to go the magic route with it, you can. If you want to go the technology route with it, you can do that too.
Sure.
And so that way it kind of sells it to a more mainstream audience.
I do love I do love one thing they do really well, and this is Marvel does this well, is sort of blend the magical world with the technology side, like sort of like the notion of he lives in this magical world, but there's this certain technology that maybe good or bad guys are trying to get, and the mixture of both. They did that in the movies as well, and that's something I'm interested in. I just never could wrap my head around Thor as a comic book character. He's my least favorite character as well. I don't know, but
yeah, when I was growing up, like if I had to buy a Thor comic, it's only because like Spider-Man, the issue with Spider-Man I had continues in Thor. I'm like,
could not get with Thor.
I gotta get the Thor one.
Yeah, I gotta get the Thor one to find out what happens.
Yeah.
So that was me too.
All right, well, good. Well, so speaking of which, of Marvel.
Yeah, I was gonna say also
Go
right now Thor's getting 66% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but 86% of the audience likes it. So again, phenomenal reviews, at least word of mouth. These kinds of movies always do better with geeks and nerds in the audience.
I will see. I will see it this evening.
What were you gonna say, Lawrence?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, man. I mean, like it's made like $150 million plus overseas, and it did like 7 last night, which may not sound like a lot of money, but when you compare it to like
that sounds like a lot of money to me.
Of the first one, which only did like 3 million, and like Captain America only did 4. It's like it's doing great.
Yeah,
great. Well, speaking of the culture money juggernaut that is Marvel Comics, that seems to be gobbling all things like Galactus. Is that a good reference? No.
Yeah, it's a good reference.
Okay, I'm actually a DC guy, so you don't hate me. I know. But so Marvel is actually really, we know about Shield, and Shield's been picked up for the rest of the back half of the year,
which is great news.
Which is great news. But there's this gigantic Netflix deal that just went down, Nando, right?
Yes, Lawrence, you know about that too, right? Yeah.
Tell us.
Oh man, the Netflix deal is like, when I finally heard about it and read it, it felt like a gift from heaven, man.
So, tell us about it.
Someone at Marvel was smart enough to realize that they should take these particular groups of heroes, that particular set of heroes, and do a deal with Netflix where those heroes can be a bit more gritty than they would be on television, or potentially, I should say, a bit more gritty than they could be on television. It's like a gift, man. It's such a good idea, and I know they committed to 13 episodes, I believe, for each hero, which is Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. And they're going to do like a little mini series kind of culmination thing with all those heroes together, labeling it the Defenders as well. And I'm just like, it's a great deal, man. It's amazing.
That's fantastic. I did like the Defenders comic. Now, this is what Netflix is built for. Netflix is really, really smart. This is built for being able to take, content from it. I know they do it with Marvel, but they can do it with anyone and take content and make something that's deliverable for a niche audience to specific people and make it great. I mean, they've done their test run with Orange is the New Black and the Kevin Spacey show,
House of Cards.
Yeah, but this is the biggest news they've had since Arrested Development, because Arrested Development was a franchise that really got them a lot of publicity, and this is probably the next biggest thing they can do.
Yeah, and I'm very, very curious, and I love the fact that they brought in Luke Cage, because we have a black superhero who's going to get get some run. And I was a big Luke Cage guy, and I love Daredevil, and then we know that since it'll
be Affleck less.
Affleck has gone over to the DC side, as Batman,
which is a good thing
too, because it allows Daredevil to start it feels very like a fresh break.
Sure.
It's not another reboot, like a movie reboot, and it's not TV exactly, and so it feels like it has the potential to be something very separate from what people have that connotation, or that connotation of Daredevil with Affleck.
Can you tell me a little bit about Jessica Jones, because I'm not familiar?
Jessica Jones is actually she was a character, a superhero that goes by the name Jewel, and she has super strength, and she's invulnerable, and she actually I mean, spoilers a little bit, but she actually ends up hooking up with Luke Cage. And so that's kind of like, she's a superhero in her own right, but her claim to fame is more that she kind of hooked up with Luke Cage, and that's they're a couple, only because
so she's like Kim Kardashian hooking up with Kanye West or something, right?
Oh my!
Kind of like that. Is that what you're saying? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I couldn't help that one.
Only one woman powerful enough for Luke Cage.
It's only because she's the hero that has all this power, but she actually kind of shuns the entire superhero thing. She hates the idea of dressing up in costume, and doesn't really want to be a part of that world, even though she has these powers. So there was a point where she was kind of more of a private investigator, and she kind of helped people on more of a local level. She didn't want to fight aliens. She didn't want to be side by side with gods and trying to defeat supervillains. She just wanted to help people and kind of live a regular life. And so she plays the background a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with her in this show.
And she's a newer character in the universe as well, right? She's only been around the past 10 years or so.
I think she's been around a little longer than that. I want to say, I feel like she's been around at least 15 or 20.
Okay.
But she's not.
But definitely newer in comparison to the other three.
She's not a first, one of those first group of people. She's definitely not a 1960s kind of person.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Got it.
So, I'm very, very excited about this. I mean, I'm pretty lukewarm on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited about this, because I like the idea that it's going to be darker, and it's going to be.
And it takes place in Hell's Kitchen, so it's going to be. It's going to be considered grittier. Yeah. I think it definitely is going to have a wider appeal to us. Sure. I think definitely we get to see more of them in the streets trying to fight. So. Who knows? I'm sure maybe the Kingpin will be taking appearance as a villain, or I'm sure there'll be a lot more gang type stuff.
I hope Netflix does a deal with my DC and get them off of the CW.
And I think it's great.
the CW's killing my DC characters.
Yeah, right. And I think Luke Cage is a great character for starters, a minority character. I mean, I'd like to see. I mean, the Falcon is supposedly going to be in the new Captain America movie.
Yep.
So it's really good to finally start seeing some diversity in the heroes that they pick to be in movie and TV. Correct, Lawrence?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree 100%. I mean, I'm not the biggest Falcon fan, but I have respect for him. He is the first African American superhero. But I definitely am a fan of Luke Cage's, and I just hope that they. I'm sure that they'll definitely go with the more recent incarnation. Again, that gritty street level kind of Luke Cage, who kicking ass, taking names, and helping the people.
I like the blaxploitation Luke Cage that I grew up with like the natural, the afro, and the headband and the open shirt.
Who do you think would be good? Because I know Isaiah Mustafa a while back. He was the Old Spice guy. He was now you're on a horse. Right. He was really like pushing Marvel to be Luke Cage.
Right.
And I'm sure like Michael J. White would be another one. I mean, he was
Michael J. White,
yeah, he was good. I'm sure there's some other good ones too, but who do you think might make a good Luke Cage? How about that?
Oh, dude, definitely. Like, I think Michael J. White is a good pick.
Yeah.
But just realistically, I mean, if all things, like, if I could really, really pick, it would probably, oh, man, look, of course, I'm going to blank on the name right now. No,
Joe Braswell.
Way to go.
No. Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Right?
Terry Crews would be awesome.
Terry Crews.
Speaking of old guys, another old guys guy, but he'd be awesome.
I think not only does he have the right look, and I think that he has like a great ability to do the serious along with the comedy.
Right.
But he could stand right there next to the rest of the Avengers and fit in.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good call. Terry Crews has done a lot of comedy lately. He's on Brooklyn Nine-Nine that lately, so he's kind of turned into this sort of caricature of himself, which concerns me. So it'd be a good move for him to sort of get back into something more serious. But,
Idris Elba would be good too if he can just get into a better New York accent. But he's already in Thor, so he's already
Who are your favorite black characters, comic characters, by the way?
Let's see who would be some of my favorite black characters. It's kind of like I do like Luke Cage, but he's definitely not my favorite. I am a big Spawn fan, even though technically Spawn is not black anymore in the comic or whatnot. Outside of that, I mean, I guess really I'd probably have to say if I'm going my absolute favorite, I'd probably have to go with Storm, because she's awesome. Even though technically, I mean, she's African as opposed to African American, but still works for me. I mean.
No, Storm is dope. I mean, I agree. Storm's actually my favorite too. But I want to be. We're almost out of time, so I want to just briefly touch on the Star Wars release date. We finally got a release date for Star Wars. I'm rocking my "Where's the Party at" shirt. I am a huge Star Wars guy, as we all are. Keely and I had the privilege of going up to Lucasfilm earlier in the year and hanging out there with some of the folks there, and Jeff White and some of the people at ILM, and we did a nice series that's on Grantland.com now if you want to check it out. We did a nice 8-part series on ILM, but nice. We are been very excited about this. First Kathleen Kennedy, who's a wonderful producer, longtime Spielberg. A collaborator all the way back to the ET days, and then we have J.J. Abrams involved. We have Lawrence Kasdan back involved, which I'm very excited about. And so they finally have given us a release date, which is December 15th. Is that
December 18th?
December 18th.
Yeah. 2015 though.
So I'll ask you, Lawrence, how are you feeling about? I'm pretty excited, but how do you feel about this episode 7 here? Do you feel like that we're gonna? I mean, do you think it'll live up to the hype? Or do you think it'll? I mean, I feel like they're kind of rushing the release date, but how are you feeling about this? Are you optimistic?
No. I'm very optimistic. I mean, like J.J. Abrams, I'm a fan of, and I understand. There's some people that I mean, I think everyone technically is a fan of J.J. Abrams. They just show it in different ways.
Yep.
Some people like to hate on the dude a little bit.
Sure.
But realistically, it's like if Star Trek is any indication of what he can do in a sci-fi universe, I mean, I think we're in good standing. And I mean, especially knowing, J.J. Abrams is not or was not a Star Trek fan. Like he made Star Trek because he's a Star Wars fan, and he figured I'll never get to make a Star Wars movie, so I'll do this, and he Star Wars'd up Star Trek.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Like, we saw how that turned out. So it was for me. I'm like, hey, now he's getting into the toy box that he actually wants to be in. It's like it's going to be fantastic. And along with, of course, all the experience from all of the people that have been making these movies in the years past. It's just like all we have is like good things. Like all we have is we have a guy that has a great vision, and we have a group of people that have the experience, and they can all balance each other out. It's going to be awesome.
Good. Well, I mean, last question. I mean, what about this cart before the horse? Studio actually coming up with a release date, we're dropping one in 2015 before there's a cast, before anything happened. They dropped the release date, and now they have to play catch up to make this movie. I mean, that concerns me. I mean, it looks like all the ducks are falling in the world. We had actually one of the screenwriters dropped off, so it's just Lawrence Kasdan now. It's in capable hands with Lawrence and JJ. I do agree, but I mean, this is something that actually concerns me. Like, what do you mean? So you're still, this doesn't bother you that the release date was here before the movie?
It doesn't, and the reason why is because it's Star Wars. Right. I mean, it's one of those things where Star Wars, even though the release date has been put out, and it's like, okay, yeah, we don't have anything necessarily set in stone. It's not like people have just started thinking about this now. People have been thinking about this for years and years and years, and it's like nobody is there trying to figure out, oh, okay, well, who could potentially be in a Star Wars movie? It's like we've all decided throughout the years who we think could be in Star Wars movies and who couldn't be. I'm sure J.J. Abrams has been thinking about it from before, and all the producers and whatnot. It's like I think not only with the idea that people have been thinking about this from beforehand, but it's like there's plenty of people that are going to jump through hoops to be in this movie. Yes. And so it's like if it was some other franchise, I might be a little concerned, but because of Star Wars, it's like everybody's going to break their back and do whatever it is that they can to make sure that this thing gets done, and I think it'll be done correctly.
I do too. I'm high hopes, and it's in capable hands with the effects guys at ILM and all the creatives behind it, and Kathleen Kennedy helming the whole show. So we'll see. Thank you very much, Lawrence, for joining us here on the show. We'll definitely have you back.
Yes, sir.
We'll definitely do some more deep dive Star Wars as it comes along.
Hopefully it's in studio next time.
Yeah, you can come in studio and hang out.
Next time in studio.
Yeah. Where can folks find you?
You know what? They can go ahead if they want to find me, like, say, on Twitter. I'm at Mayor Young at Twitter, MAYORYOUNG. You can also follow at Fantastic Forum, and you can also check out the site allgames.com/Fantastic Forum. That's where you'll find the show.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us. That's going to do it for us. Nando, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Nandovel, Nandovel, and also a couple of shows here on AfterBuzz Network, recapping TV shows like The Walking Dead, Homeland, and The Blacklist.
What?
Yeah.
Akili Shine, where can we find you, sir?
Yes, you can find me at Akili Shine on Twitter and Instagram. See you next week, guys.
And you can find me on Twitter at Joe K. Braswell, on Instagram at Joe Braswell, and on AfterBuzz, doing shows with Nando Vell as well. Thanks, Lawrence. Young, thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Dario Kristen, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network. If you have questions or comments, tweet us at BHL Online or email us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. For more exclusive content, visit blackhollywoodlive.com. This has been a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network.
Hollywood
Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.